This used to be a performance to thousands. Now poorer sides can't make a living from opera. Musicians and artists have been at the sharp end of lockdown restrictions, and while the health crisis may be easing nationally, the economic crisis is continuing to wreak devastation on people's lives.
A full year of work was wiped off the diary. You know, within a week, an entire year disappeared. And all of my colleagues and friends, we were all just going, oh my God, it's gone. And you're just going, oh my God, this is a nightmare. How are we going to survive?
In this mini-movie, the Chancellor gives an account of the economic turmoil of the last year. He promises now to use tomorrow's budget to unleash the full measure of the government's fiscal firepower. He's already spent £280 billion on government support, such as the furlough scheme, with expectations those measures will now be extended until summer. But many in the arts and entertainment industry say it's essential that help gets to people as well as large organisations.
It's terrifying. I mean, we're all terrified, and we looked on the internet and finding jobs, courses. I can change career, I can do this. And then I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to try to find a way. I'll find a stopgap to get there. I have a contract in the diary for 2022.
How important is that?
It's oh goodness, it's incredibly important. I'm sorry.
Okay. But to have something in the diary gives you some sense of hope, some sense of stability.
I feel very lucky to have something, you know, when so many people don't.
Today, the Chancellor was addressing some of the people who have benefited from his schemes.
Thank you so much for making some time for me this afternoon.
On the eve of the budget, he added an additional £400 million for the arts and sports and vowed he'd do everything it takes to support jobs. But unlike this Zoom audience, people in the creative industries are often not directly employed and have not been able to access government support. In fact, freelancers make up 70% of creative industries, with more than a third of those people unable to claim government funding. Across the country, 556 music venues are at risk of closing down forever, and over 1,000 theatres are currently closed to audiences. The situation in the arts sector is part of the grim national picture, where 1.7 million people are now unemployed and another 6 million are hanging on only through furlough.
We just don't know if the industry will recover. I think that's the really heartbreaking thing, is feeling that, yes, the buildings are there, the buildings are open, but the artists won't be there anymore to be able to make the art, or vastly reduced amount of people who will be there. And what a loss, what a tremendous loss.
At the National Theatre, they turned this production of Othello with Adrian Lester into a digital release while their doors were closed. But they haven't escaped a damaging ground of redundancy and job cuts for freelancers.
And clearly one of the things that we've been really mindful about is how can we try and make work, try and look after people so that we can all get through this. Because you're absolutely right, the performing arts, it's about the people as much as the building. Our buildings are terribly important because that's where we all congregate and we finally make the work, but it's the people that make theatre.
We now know that there will be good news for our sectors tomorrow in terms of a generous package of funding that isn't just about survival, but about planning, preparing and paving the way to the reopening of our sectors.
That'll be fantastic news for Paula and her husband, who's also a self-employed opera singer. But the Chancellor's generosity for those in the arts and across the economy will be tested in a budget weighed down by a staggering £360 billion deficit. It's unclear how much we'll learn tomorrow about who'll end up paying this off.
Helia Ebrahimi reporting. Now our political editor Gary Gibbon is in Westminster for us now. Gary.
Well, what do we know about the budget measures themselves and the forecasts that come with them tomorrow? We know the furlough scheme is getting extended. We await the date. We know that public borrowing, though vast, is not as vast as was originally thought. We know the Chancellor is terrified of even puny rises in interest rates and what that will do to the bills in the Treasury. And we're pretty sure we know that he has booked in, for that reason, amongst others, corporation tax increases and freezing of allowances on income tax, not for this year, but for the future. And all of this proves that the budget is no longer an event, really. It's a sort of season of announcements. But there's always a surprise. What will it be tomorrow? Could it be something that tries to incentivise employers to get them back into the habit of recruitment? Could it be something, a wheeze, that tries to steal Labour's political clothes? We find out after Prime Minister's questions tomorrow.